Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to create a little tag for the community. Something I've always enjoyed doing, taking part in tags. So I was watching a movie last night and it's a movie that really provokes a proper physical response in me when a particular thing happens. And I thought back to how I felt the first time I saw that movie. And I wanted to do a top 10 list of your favourite or your like wow movie moments. So top 10 movie moments tag. In my case, this is moments that provoke like a real physical reaction in me, that maybe I get goosebumps, maybe all the hairs on your arm stands on end, maybe you're just something that just, oh my god. Now there will be some I mention here that I'm sure will be on your list as well because there's such big moments. I will obviously say that because I'm discussing the moments there are spoilers, but none of these movies are new. They're all pretty old movies to be honest, as in several years at least. If you haven't seen the movie and don't want to spoiler, obviously just fast forward a little bit. I would put timestamps in, but to be honest I'm not entirely sure how to. But yeah, just that little bit of warning beforehand. But hopefully, being a movie fan, watching this, you will have seen all of these movies. So let's get kicked off. So in at number 10 is Planet of the Apes. I'm sure you all know the scene I'm referring to. This is where a crew leaves Earth in 1972. It obviously takes a very extreme amount of years for them to get there, and they find this planet is ruled by apes and they are in cages, and I'm sure everyone's seen the movie. But what we discover at the end of the movie is that they have been on Earth the whole time. We see that very famous shot of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh my God. I'm back. I'm home.
First time I saw that movie, I was like, oh my god, I had no idea. I was very young, I was a child actually, and it just blew me away. So Planet of the Apes is number 10. At number 9 is maybe a slightly lesser known movie, but amongst the horror community I think quite well known. It's called The Visit, and this is a movie about a brother and sister that go to stay with their elderly grandparents. The kids actually haven't ever met their grandparents. I mean, it just staggered me. But anyway, they haven't met the grandparents. They're staying with them for a while. They get on fine. They're a bit weird at first, but they settle in. Things are going well, but things take a bit of a turn. And we discover at the end of this movie that it's not their grandparents at all. These individuals have escaped from an asylum and they have actually murdered these children's grandparents. And they have been in that house with the murderers all the time.
They've been acting so strange, Mom. We've been recording them.
Becca, Tyler, just listen to me.
We are.
Those aren't your grandparents.
And again, no idea whatsoever. I was completely blown away. Loved it. So that's The Visit at number 9. At number 8 is Seven. I should have put that at number 7, really, shouldn't I? So Brad Pitt plays Detective Mills, and they are following a killer who is basing his killings on 7 deadly sins. The bit I'm sure we're all really aware of what's in the box. So many people use it in their unboxings, which I love. I think it's hilarious. So we get to the end of this movie. Unfortunately, Kevin Spacey's in this. He will pop up again in a later one. I'm sure you know already. He plays John Doe, who walks into a police station and confesses to these murders. But he has already set in motion the last 2 murders that need to take place. So unbeknown to Detective Mills, John Doe has actually killed his wife, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, and when he opens the box, he becomes very aware that she is dead. And one thing needs to happen in order to complete John Doe's envisioning what he wanted to do, and that is that Detective Mills has to kill him as an act of vengeance. And the other detective there, played by Morgan Freeman, I think he's called Somerset, Detective Somerset, he begs him, don't do it, it's what he wants you to do, he wants you to do this, so he has accomplished a fait accompli, I suppose. And he does it, and John Doe gets his way.
David, if you kill him, he will win.
Absolutely amazing, fantastically thought out, didn't see it coming, absolutely loved it. At number 6 is Old Boy. Now, this is one that I had a bit of a not very nice physical reaction to. It was like, oh my god, that's just sick. I was so surprised by it. So this film follows Ode Sue, who has been incarcerated for 15 years in solitary confinement. He's been framed for the murder of his wife, which he did not commit. So he's planning vengeance in this movie. He goes out to seek that. And he is helped along the way by a young woman called Mido. And along the way, in the course of them trying to seek this revenge, they fall in love with one another. Normal stuff happens, they sleep together, and we discover nearing the end of this movie that Mido is actually his daughter. The daughter was actually taken away and put into foster care, obviously, when he went into prison, and the wife was killed, and he has met and fell in love with. On purpose, this has been orchestrated by other people, and he has slept with his own daughter. A bit sick. Didn't see it coming, complete shocker, so it had to go in there because it shocked me to the core. So at number 5 is Memento. Now this is a movie that's quite divisive. I adore this movie. If you haven't seen it, it's told from the end backwards. It's quite confusing. It makes much more sense if you watch it again. And the more watches you have, the more sense it actually makes. And this movie follows Guy Pearce as a man who has no memory. He's covered in tattoos because when something happens in his life that's of importance, or he remembers something, he has it tattooed. He looks at his tattoos every day to try and get a feel of who he is. And in this movie, he is seeking down, again, revenge for someone that murdered his wife. Now, at the end of this movie, what we actually discover is he is responsible for his wife's own death. There's more to it than that, but that's what we discover at the end, which is a complete shocker. So I had to put Memento in here. The next 4 are ones off the top of my head when I thought about making this list that came straight away to me. These 4 movies, these specific scenes, I absolutely adore. Number 4 is Unbreakable. So the whole movie follows Bruce Willis discovering that he is a form of superhero. I'm not going to go into the entire plot of the movie, but we find out that Samuel L. Jackson, a character called Mr. Glass, that is quite obsessed by Bruce Willis in this movie, whose name I can't remember, the character name. But the reason he's obsessed is that in the world of superheroes, you obviously have to have the villain. We've got the superhero and the villain, and Mr. Glass is the villain to Bruce Willis's character's superhero. And Samuel L. Jackson was born with a rare condition, which means that the bones in his body break extremely easily. When he was born as a baby, he had like loads of broken bones, hence the name Mr. Glass. He's, you would say, always got brittle bone disease, but he is searching for a meaning to his life and a reason that he is this way. Bruce Willis's character is indestructible, and in the same way, he's the complete opposite. But the moment in this movie is that bit with the music in the background where he is telling the story, not where you're seeing the montage of all the disasters that have been somehow attributed to Mr. Glass, but when he is saying, "They call me Mr. Glass. I am not a mistake." That sends shivers through me no matter how many times I see it. I adore it so much, I can't even begin to tell you. So number 4 is Unbreakable.
Now that we know who you are, I know who I am. I'm not a mistake. It all makes sense. In a comic, you know how you can tell who the arch villain's going to be? He's the exact opposite of the hero. And most times they're friends like you and me. I should have known way back when. You know why, David? Because of the kids. They called me Mr. Glass.
So number 3, and it's another appearance, unfortunately, from Kevin Spacey, and this is The Usual Suspects. Now, if you have not seen The Usual Suspects, do not watch this next bit because this is just fantastic. This twist in this movie, I'm not going to go into plot of movie, but we find out at the end that we're looking all the way through for the character called Kaiser Sosei, and at the end, I'm not even going to say in case someone's inadvertently listening to this, and at the end we find out someone that we never expected was Kaiser Sosei, and it's that scene with the walk and the limp, and the limp just reverting to a normal walk, and again the fantastic score in the background.
Is close to getting caught and sticks his head out.
You get no guys from me. Because you're stupid, Verbal. Because you're a cripple.
What I want to know is who's the gimp.
You know the whole fucking time.
Again, physical reaction, chills, absolutely adore it. So Usual Suspects is number 3. So number 1 and number 2, I struggled with myself and I put what I did at number 1 because it's one of my all-time favourite movies. So number 2 is The Shawshank Redemption. We all know the story of Andy Dufresne and his incarceration. Really, that should never have happened. His entire story, Morgan Freeman in this is absolutely just amazing. Fun fact, Red was actually meant to be an Irish ginger-haired person. That was the envisaging for it, hence the name Red. But Samuel L. Jackson got the role, and now you can't imagine anyone else playing it but him. So this is the scene where he's got the poster on his wall, and we find out that all the time Andy Dufresne has been tunnelling to make a tunnel to get out of the prison into the sewer system. And it's that fantastic moment when he's disappeared and they come into his room and we see the big hole. They lift the poster and I think does someone actually throw something at the wall in frustration and it goes through, and they lift the poster and there's Andy's tunnel.
One big damn conspiracy! And everyone's in on it! Including her.
Amazing. I mean, we knew he was up to something. We knew with, you know, the little claw hammer and stuff that he hid in the Bible, but oh my god, that scene with, it just blows me away. Love it. So, number 1, folks. Right, I love this moment. I saw this in the cinema, and I remember when I actually saw it in the cinema, having the most incredible physical, just chills from my head to my feet, just that tingle that just runs through your body when something's completely caught you off guard. And in this movie, I think that you have a slight suspicion near the beginning, but as the movie plays out, you're like content that you're no, that's not going to happen. And this is Saw. Now, I love Saw. A lot of people don't. I watched it again last night. I'm a massive fan of the franchise. I do respect that the later movies aren't perhaps as good as the original, but just the whole setup of it, the ingenuity of the traps, the inventive kills, the reasoning behind them, the morality questions behind them all. I love it. People find it really convoluted. I love the twists and turns and the links. Even though I know they are ridiculous in places, I lap it up. I love it. But anyway, getting back to Saw. It's obviously that scene at the end of Saw where John Kramer gets up off the floor in the middle of the room where he has been lying prone as a dead body for the entire movie and pulls the latex off his head, which has been shown exposed brain because he's meant to have shot himself in the head, and he's lying there in like a pool of poisoned blood. So you may have a slight suspicion at the beginning of the movie. You may think this guy's going to get up, but you know that thing you do when you watch a movie where you're guessing lots of different things to try and vein and get the right answer, but as the movie plays out you forget that and you think no, that's not going to happen. And then that marvellous moment at the end when we've gone through everything we've gone through, when you're already like dealing with the reveal that the photographer has been following the doctor all this time. You're dealing with just all these different things and you're still going, wow, that's fantastic. And then he gets up off the floor. And that music, I cannot tell you how much I love the Saw music and how disappointed I was when I watched Spiral, the trailer, and it wasn't in there. And the voice was different. I know we're going a different direction and people want something a bit more Seven. I had done a trailer reaction to the Spiral thing, but I didn't put it up because I was so disappointed with the trailer. I think because it wasn't what I'm used to, and I just adore the franchise so much. I don't want to see all these changes, and it maybe will be a better movie, who knows, but it's just my love of the franchise. But that scene, still to this day, I remember myself sitting in the cinema. If you had have had a camera on my face, I would have been like... was blown away. I loved it. I adored it. So yep, Saw, Shawshank, Usual Suspects and Unbreakable easily for me straight into my head when I think about wow movie moments. So I open it up to you guys. What are your 10 wow movie moments? Obviously if some are the same as mine, fire away, and we will have crossover. Oh, I've missed one out. I've missed out number 7. So I went straight from 7, which was at number 8, to Oldboy, which was at number 6, and I missed out number 7. And you've probably been shouting at this the whole time going, you missed out number 7. Number 7 is The Mist. Number 7 is David at the end of the movie in the car with the gun, with 4 bullets in there and 5 people that he needs to shoot. They've lost all hope, the creatures are going to get them. One of those people in the car is his son, I think he was 7 or 8, and he shoots all of the other 4 with those 4 bullets, and prepares himself for a horrible grisly end at the hands of these creatures. But as he has killed the last person, and as he is just in a complete state over the fact he has killed his son, we see an army convoy come through the mist. They have defeated the creatures and they have come to rescue the people, and this guy has just killed his own son and 3 other people. Horrible movie moment, but real visceral, proper physical reaction to it. So, right, there you go. I've given you them all now. Top 10 movie moments. I welcome you to tell me yours. If you haven't been tagged, please feel free to do it anyway. I do. I never wait to be tagged. If I like something, I'm doing it. So, the people I've picked, and please don't feel obliged if you don't have time or you just don't fancy it, but I'm throwing it out here to the following. Kermits Ghost, Geeky Hijinks, Movie Worm, Screen Stars, The Girl and a Movie, and Sinister Arts and Movies. The last 2 may want to do it together. They're a couple, The Girl and a Movie and Sinister Arts and Movies. But I'm throwing it up into you guys. I'd love to know your thoughts. And thank you guys for watching. Over and out from Lisa Loves.